In this video, we will take a deep dive into the key events that led to the Cold War, the major players involved, and how the world was impacted by this global conflict. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this captivating journey through history. The Cold War was a period of political tension and military rivalry between the United States and the Soviet Union that lasted from the end of World War II in 1945 until the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991. This article will explore the origins, events, and aftermath of the Cold War. The Cold War can be traced back to the ideological differences between the United States and the Soviet Union. The United States was founded on principles of democracy, capitalism, and individual freedoms, while the Soviet Union was founded on principles of communism, collective ownership, and centralized government control. The clash of these two ideologies created a fundamental divide between the two superpowers. Soviet expansionism was also a significant factor in the origins of the Cold War. The Soviet Union had a long history of expansionism and had occupied numerous countries in Eastern Europe at the end of World War II. The United States saw this as a threat to its national security and began to implement policies aimed at containing Soviet expansion. The Truman Doctrine, announced by President Truman in 1947, was a key policy in the containment strategy. It pledged the United States to support any country threatened by communist expansion. This policy set the stage for the long-lasting rivalry between the two superpowers. One of the defining features of the Cold War was the arms race. Both the United States and the Soviet Union began to build up their military capabilities, with a particular focus on nuclear weapons. This led to an intense period of nuclear proliferation, with both sides building more and more advanced weapons. The space race was another aspect of the arms race. Both countries sought to establish dominance in space exploration, with the Soviet Union launching the first satellite, Sputnik, in 1957. The United States responded by landing the first man on the moon in 1969. Arms control was also a significant concern during the Cold War. Both sides recognized the dangers of nuclear war and attempted to negotiate various arms control agreements. The most significant of these was the Strategic Arms Limitation Talks, SALT, which resulted in the signing of two treaties aimed at limiting the number of nuclear weapons each side could possess. While the United States and the Soviet Union never engaged in direct military conflict, they did engage in a series of proxy wars around the world. These conflicts were fought between smaller countries supported by each superpower, and they served as a way for the two sides to compete for influence without risking a direct confrontation. The Korean War was one of the first proxy wars of the Cold War, fought between North and South Korea with support from the Soviet Union and the United States, respectively. The Vietnam War was another significant conflict, with the United States supporting South Vietnam against the communist forces in the north, who were backed by the Soviet Union and China. The Afghanistan War, fought from 1979 to 1989, was another proxy war between the United States and the Soviet Union. The United States provided support to Afghan rebels who were fighting against the Soviet-backed government. This conflict ultimately resulted in a Soviet defeat and withdrawal from Afghanistan. The Cold War came to an end in the late 1980s and early 1990s, largely as a result of the policies of Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev. Gorbachev's reforms, known as Perestroika and Glasnost, aimed to modernize the Soviet Union and improve relations with the West. However, these reforms also led to increased demands for freedom and democracy within the Soviet Union and its satellite states in Eastern Europe. This ultimately led to the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991 and the end of the Cold War. The end of the Cold War had a significant impact on world politics. It marked the beginning of a unipolar world, with the United States emerging as the sole superpower. It also led to a new era of globalization and increased economic interdependence between countries. The Cold War was a defining period in world history, with far-reaching implications for global politics, economics, and society. The legacy of the Cold War continues to shape international relations to this day, with the threat of nuclear weapons still a concern. However, the Cold War also taught us valuable lessons about the dangers of ideological extremism, the importance of diplomacy, and the need for cooperation in the face of global challenges. As we look towards the future, it is important to remember these lessons and work towards a more peaceful and prosperous world. Thank you for watching this informative video on the Cold War, a brief history in English. We hope you enjoyed this journey through history and gained a better understanding of this significant global conflict. Don't forget to like and share this video, and subscribe to our channel for more exciting content.